after 1 o'clock in the morning. After weeks of President Trump insisting that the economy is thriving, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, now acknowledges concerns about the cost of living and affordability.
Message to the American people who are still feeling like things are unaffordable, who are still feeling like things are rough out there is look, we get it and we hear you. Even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience.
But Americans aren't biting, especially when it comes to inflation. In a new Marquette University Law School poll, 75% of people say groceries are more expensive, which they are. Those numbers are similar to a Fox News poll where 85% of registered voters said grocery prices are higher than they were a year ago. According to the Fox poll, just 4% of voters think that the economic conditions today are excellent, while 42% say conditions are poor. As for who voters think is more responsible for the current state of affairs, 62% say Trump, only 32% say Biden. This comes as some of America's major companies warn consumers are being more cautious about their spending. Walmart says it is seeing a boost in sales thanks to more middle and upper income households shopping at its stores to save money. With all this economic uncertainty, let's take a look at how global stocks are doing. Asia markets all down in the red, and U.S. futures are actually looking up for Friday's opening. Compare that to Thursday's close. The Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ were all in the red. Tech and AI stocks pushed the market lower as concerns resurfaced about the potential of an AI bubble, that AI is too good to be true. While many view America's economy in a negative light, the labor market just posted a stronger than expected jobs report. Situation's still a little murky, as CNN's Matt Egan tells us.
Well, Alex, we were hoping that this long-delayed September jobs report was going to provide some much-needed clarity. Instead, it's just adding to the confusion because this report was about as mixed as you can get. Now, the good news is the U.S. economy added 119,000 jobs in September. That blew away the forecast, which was just for 50,000 jobs. And it does suggest that this job market is not imploding. At least it wasn't as of the end of September. However, the bad news is there were more negative revisions to prior months. Both July and August were revised lower, and August went from a tiny gain to a tiny loss, which means that after nearly 4 years of uninterrupted monthly job growth, the U.S. economy has now shed jobs in 2 of the last 4 months. The other disappointing news is the unemployment rate. It unexpectedly went higher to 4.4%. That's the highest rate in nearly 4 years. And when you look at the trend here, it's clearly moving in the wrong direction. Now, as far as where the jobs are, healthcare continues to be a major source of strength, gaining almost 60,000 jobs in September alone. And construction, after losing jobs for a few months, gained 19,000. That's encouraging. That's the most that construction has gained in a single month in a year. However, manufacturing continues to lose jobs, losing another 6,000 in September. This is a sector that now has lost jobs in every single month since April, the month the president rolled out his Liberation Day tariffs. Of course, job loss is the exact opposite of what those tariffs are designed to do. Relatedly, as imports have plunged because of high tariffs, transportation and warehousing lost 25,000 jobs in September alone. Look, I think the bottom line is this jobs report was so mixed, it's probably not going to move the needle all that much in either direction. The job market looked shaky coming into this report. Afterwards, it still looks pretty shaky. Back to you, Alex.
All right, Matt, thank you. Within the past couple of hours, CNN has learned the details of a draft U.S. peace proposal for Ukraine, which the White House so far has kept under wraps. We obtained the 28-point draft, which shows Ukraine would have to make some major territorial concessions to Moscow, including the recognition of its Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk regions as what they call de facto Russian. The current front lines in the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions would be frozen, as they are. Ukraine would also have to stay out of NATO and limit its military to 600,000 troops. And, get this, it would have to hold elections within 100 days. In return, it would receive security guarantees. Many of these ideas have been rejected time and again by Ukraine and its allies in the past. On the ground, Russia is escalating its attacks and provocations against the West. Claire Sebastian has the details.
Russia's provocations against the West are becoming bolder. A deadly drone and missile attack on western Ukraine, causing NATO to deploy jets, a Russian spy ship in British waters, a Polish rail track funneling aid to Ukraine attacked.
The intention was clearly to kill Polish citizens.
Russia is escalating far beyond the front lines. Cruise missiles hitting residential buildings Wednesday, killing more than 24 people and causing Poland and Romania to scramble jets. This Russian intelligence ship sailed to the edge of British waters this week, the UK says, and directed lasers at Air Force pilots sent to track it.
So my message to Russia and to Putin is this. We see you. We know what you're doing.
The Kremlin refused to comment and says it had nothing to do with the Polish train line attack. But why now? Why hasn't recent US pressure, the shelving of a planned leaders' summit in Budapest,
I'm not going to be wasting my time,
sanctions on Russia's oil giants, Ukraine openly using US-made ATACMS missiles on Russia this week? Why hasn't all that deterred Moscow? Well, perhaps Russia wants to show what it's capable of before international pressure steps up again. But US and Russian sources told CNN this week that high-level talks have continued behind the scenes, keeping Russian hopes of improved bilateral relations alive, and perhaps giving Moscow the confidence it can still persuade the US the war will end quickest on Russia's terms. Claire Sebastian, CNN, London.
One of the countries that helped to mediate the Gaza ceasefire is condemning the new Israeli airstrikes. Qatar says the IDF's brutal attacks are threatening to destroy the tenuous truce. Brutal was their word. The Palestinian Health Ministry says the latest strikes killed at least 32 people in Gaza. Israel says it attacked Hamas targets after IDF soldiers came under fire. Hamas rejected the IDF account and is urging the U.S. to pressure Israel to respect the ceasefire agreement. Some Palestinians in Gaza say they wonder what happened with the long-awaited truce.
They say there's a ceasefire. Where is this ceasefire they're talking about? Where are the guarantors of the ceasefire? Every day, 10, 15, 20 martyrs die. We wake up to martyrs and go to sleep to martyrs. And they say there's a ceasefire.
Azam's house, 5 people. They were sleeping. They are children. 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 Oh, people. Children. They are children. Children. What is the fault of these children?
Palestinian authorities say 312 people have been killed in Gaza since that ceasefire began last month. A new wave of arson attacks is hitting the occupied West Bank. Israeli settlers set fire to a vehicle scrapyard in the northern town of Huwara. The scrapyard's owner says more than a dozen settlers descended on the site, smashing cars, starting fires that damaged or destroyed some 150 cars. The attacks came as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was holding a security meeting focused on settler violence. It has surged over the past few months. On Monday, a rare condemnation of settler violence. Mr. Netanyahu blamed the attacks on what he called a, quote, small extremist group. While a delegation of former hostages freed from Gaza met with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House on Thursday, they also met with senior U.S. officials, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who helped negotiate the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The group is calling for renewed efforts to bring home the bodies of the 3 hostages still remaining in Gaza.
The fight isn't over. We're here in Washington, D.C. to close our own chapter, but there are families still living through the pain our families endured. This won't be over until everyone comes home. There's a rally this Saturday night. I'm asking everyone to show up. Everyone needs to come home now.
Story is the weather. Parts of central Texas are under water after heavy rains, but that's only a taste of what's to come. Multiple storms have lined up back-to-back over the region, with more rainfall expected on Sunday. Menard County was hit with 10 inches of rain on Thursday, prompting evacuations of campsites and RV parks. Flood watches were in effect across the region late into Thursday night. Parts of the state still recovering from deadly floods that killed more than 130 people in July. Farther west, this time-lapse video captured a haboob, which is a dust storm that appeared in Wolfforth. The phenomenon darkened the sky over the area there. This is in Texas, and we've seen rains for days here in California as well. A warning off the top here, the details in this CNN exclusive are graphic. Elizabeth Wagmeister is here. She spoke with the man at the center of a brand new investigation into Sean Diddy Combs.
Yes, Alex. So Jonathan Hay claims that Combs sexually assaulted him in 2020. He laid out his case in a civil lawsuit, but now the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is investigating his claims. Again, the warning, this interview includes graphic details that may be distressing to viewers.
Violated me like I've never been violated.
Jonathan Hay. In his first TV interview since the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department opened a new investigation into allegations that Sean Diddy Combs forced Hay to perform oral sex on him.
Somebody's listening, and I feel like I'm so close to justice, finally.
Hay, a music publicist and producer, says his first incident with Combs came in 2020 when they collaborated on new music honoring Biggie, the late rapper Notorious B.I.G. This is Hay, modeling Biggie's actual clothes, a photo he says he gave to the police, taken on the day he says he found himself alone with Combs.
He took a phone call, sat down, I could hear like sex noises. He was really like masturbating. This goes on for a few minutes. I just want the whole thing, to be over. And the next thing you know, he ejaculates into one of Biggie's shirts. That was the shirt I mean. He was like, "Rest in peace, Big."
Hay, in this police report, says that he kept the incident to himself, but it began to eat at him and eventually told Biggie's son, C.J. Wallace, who was collaborating with him on the new music.
I finally got that off my chest after almost a year.
But Hay told police that the dynamic of the partnership changed. In March 2021, Hay went for what he thought was an interview for Combs' Revolt TV. Instead, he says he was taken to a house where Combs entered the room.
Chaos erupted, and he was screaming at me. He was in a rage, and that's when he violated me.
Hay told police Combs stuck his penis inside of his mouth. Hay says he pulled away, but Combs pulled his head back and allegedly did it again, approximately 3 to 4 times. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Shock, blur. I didn't know if I was going to die at that point. It's the first time in my life where I felt suicidal.
Combs' attorneys told CNN Mr. Combs categorically denies as false and defamatory all claims that he sexually abused anyone. In July, Hay filed a civil suit against Combs and Wallace, Biggie's son. Wallace is now suing for defamation, claiming Hay became irate at the decision to not release the remainder of the songs that Hay had produced and retaliated. His attorney adding the allegations will be shown to be complete fantasy.
CJ knows what's happened. He was there.
Combs is now serving 4 years in federal prison. Hay hopes that his case will add to that.
Biggie was supposedly his best friend. To just do that in his shirt and to attack me like he doesn't need to be out on the streets.
So, Elizabeth, what happens next?
Look, we don't know the scope of this investigation. Of course, we don't know whether or not this will lead to charges at all. But Jonathan Hay told me that just this week, 2 days ago, that a detective from the Special Victims Bureau with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department did reach out to them, told him that she's been assigned to the case and that he plans to meet with her soon.
And so ultimately be up to LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman to decide whether to go forward with charges or not.
That's right.
Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.
Democrats are accusing President Trump of inciting violence after he suggested that some lawmakers should be arrested, potentially face the death penalty. What's that all about? Plus, California trying to lure more than a dozen new film and TV projects back to the state. The executive director of California's Film Commission joins me in studio next to talk about Baywatch coming back.